Hello, and I want to welcome everybody. And this is the Butterfly Effect, the Journey of Awakening. I'm doing a little bit of a pre-series to the Butterfly Effect transformation through energy healing and spirituality. And this is one of my bestest friends who has been on this journey with me. We have literally been going through this together. So I am so excited to share her journey, my journey, our journey with you guys. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so happy that we get to share together. Um, let's share a little bit about like our journey together and what's that been like for you.
How back are we going?
Like, I mean, we could share how, just how the universe works in certain ways.
Okay. So, honestly, what comes to mind is our IMATs that connected us. The whole drive that we had together and getting to know each other, where we just had a mutual friend, and we had just some time apart where we didn't reconnect as much.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for some reason, like it was just, I felt very drawn to you for certain things when I was in the area by your home. And it always felt very natural to catch up and hang out with you. And I truly believe that that everything has its purpose for happening. Like everything has its meaning. And I can't honestly see myself going through this without you. And
It's so funny. I'm like, but yeah, like this journey just can't picture it without you because we've literally been like impacting each other's journey so much. And I literally felt like I'm like, why does she want to reach out? Why is she even reaching out to me? Like I can't believe she's even reaching out to me because of where I was at on my journey when at that time I was struggling a lot with alcohol and like an unhealthy relationship that it's just I was not confident and I guess you saw something in me that I didn't see.
I loved you from like the moment that that was 3 days that we spent together, 3 days, and then not to mention the car ride alone. And we were there, I think, the day before. So there was just a lot of it instantly felt warm to me. Like I felt comfortable. And, for me to be very comfortable like that with someone, it's usually after the second, third meetup with people. And it just felt very genuine and just, I don't know. I loved you from that moment. I was just like, she's so sweet. She's so great. And whenever I was in the area, I just felt like, why would I not invite Carissa? Why would I not want to hang out with Carissa?
Well, I felt the same. Like I definitely felt like looking back, like I did feel that comfort with you. Like, we just like knowing then, if I knew then what I know now,
Oh yeah.
it would have been a different journey, but anyway, so that led us to where we're at now, and we actually do energy healing work. And I would love for you to share a little bit about from just like some brief moments of our journey where we like reconnected. How for us, like it just literally we kept getting drawn back together in moments till we were like, whoa, like we are best friends. And wow, like the connection that we have is like no other connection that we've ever felt before.
For
The
sure.
way that we get to experience each other through connection, and it's just undescribable.
It really is. The only, like, I feel like I can put it to words, but it's like, it's not justice for it. Like, I always feel accepted and lively and happy. And it's just like, not to mention like the energetic things that we feel in our body. Like when you feel something and I'm like, oh yeah, I feel it too. Or I feel this. It's like, it's so intense and it's just truly magical. And I love it. And like the little things that are popping into my head are like the reconnection for us to really, where we began this was like, my wedding, for you actually to come up And then after that, it was Tony Robbins. And it was like that you have to go. You just have to go. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay. And then it was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go. And that experience in itself was amazing. And to be in that room with those 15,000 people, to feel that, and then that led up to Master Co, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioning like, oh, he's so interesting, wait till you see that part. And I was sold from that minute where he was like teaching us how to do that. And you know, then from there it was just like, it just felt very natural to me, you know, when we went together to see Master Co. What was that, in April or something last year?
Yeah, I think it was I think it might have been May. And I like, because
Yes.
I mean, for me, like that wasn't even something that I necessarily wanted to go to. You wanted to go to it. And it was like, wow, like we are guiding each other, like, come on over here, come on over here. And eventually it
It
got us.
unraveled into some really magical stuff. Like, I mean, like the Tony Robbins thing, I was like, I think it was kind of like the same thing. Like, you should try it. Like, it's amazing. He's great. And then when I was like, let's actually go see Master Co, you're like, okay. It never feels like, you know, like we're forcing things. It's kind of just like some really like flowing movement. I like they're just aligned. But yeah, after Master Co, I mean, and not even just Master Co, I mean, I almost forgot about the H was the H QHHT, the hypnosis.
Oh, the hypnosis session with Cynthia.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
found that. I
I
was just like,
connected with her and I'm like, you guys get to go experience this too. Like, let's all go do it. Well, you and my ex, we get to go do this. Like, I want you guys to experience as much as you can. Like, I mean, I didn't even know what we were getting ourselves into, but it led to this journey of where we're at
yep.
now, like conscious and awake and really on that journey of healing and grasping this world for what it is and ourselves, and just on that journey of loving ourselves and just learning through life.
For sure. I mean, that experience too, that led up to that weekend with Master Co was kind of like the actual moment after I kind of started getting into this stuff where it's like, okay, we're doing it. And I actually am getting a taste for it and a feel for it. And like, to me, it was just like, this is it. Like, this is what I've been searching for, you know, deep down, like something calling me. And here it is, lo and behold. And honestly, like, I can't imagine any of these things without you. Like, even like the conversations that were leading, you know, to Tony Robbins or after Tony Robbins, and like, you know, just us sharing. And even if we didn't quite understand it to the capacity that we do now, just really wanting to, and like not really judging one another, just like really wanting to listen and support each other. Like, that is honestly like what makes our friendship so beautiful. It's like I never felt like I had to keep something from you because I felt like I was being judged with you. And
Yeah.
it's just like unraveled into like this deeper and more connected friendship with you. And I love it. And it's just been truly amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
you.
I love you too. You know, I love you so much. We are sharing this because this is an aspect of our lives that we want for more people. And this journey really that we're on of awakening and healing and becoming more conscious has supported us through this. Like, we know if we hadn't been guided to, like, through our relationship, we wouldn't be where we're at and have this high level of a relationship and that unconditional love that I've wanted my whole life. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate it so much, and we want it for everybody. So that's why we're sharing our journey, because we want everybody to know that they can get to a space where they're loving and accepting of themselves. And this is a journey, and we're human, and this is what supported us through this. So I would love for you to share a little bit about your sensitivity. Me and you are very sensitive, and there's a lot of people out there that don't understand our gift of sensitivity, and might not, it might be a gift for them as well, and they don't understand it. So I would love for you to share.
So honestly, it's been a struggle in itself for me to fully understand it, and you've kind of like led me more into that because I know you're so much more sensitive than I am when it comes to surroundings, and I've gradually these last couple months have been feeling myself being more sensitive about my environments and the conversations I choose to have or feel sometimes like they're forced upon me to have with people, where it's truly interesting how it feels. Like, I mean, I could feel sometimes my chest get tight. It makes me feel tired. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, one great example is being around school when I go pick up my son from school, either dropping him off or picking him up. Like, I could be like in the highest vibration, you know, feeling so good, especially like in the mornings. Like, if I have like a really good um, vibration going where I did my little routine, meditated and candles and whatnot. And instantly, as soon as I set foot into the actual premises of the school, I start feeling anxious. Like, my chest starts getting like really tight. I start feeling uncomfortable and awkward and insecure. Sometimes I start feeling like stressed. And it's just like, to me, like, it takes me a quick, minute or so to really like, okay, that's not me. That's not me. That's like me being around all these teachers and parents and kids. And it really is interesting how we are sensitive to these things, and I think multiple people are, and they're just not aware of it. And you've definitely opened my eyes more on it, interacting with you physically, like when we're hanging out, and the understanding that we have now and knowledge of energy and how it works. Because there were times where I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling really irritable, I'm feeling really tired, and it's just like, no girl, like, you picked up somebody like somewhere. And it's like the awareness that I'm having now, where it's like I'm cutting cords because I know it's not my own,
Yeah.
thing going on. I picked up, absorbed someone, and it's really interesting how that works. And I'm still learning it myself.
Yeah.
And
Well, we're on the journey, and like we get to learn through each other. That's one amazing thing about our relationship, is we get to like share these things, like, oh, like I'm feeling this, you're feeling that, and like literally, what we understand in this world now is like we can connect with anybody wherever we're at in the world. Like, we can do healing work with somebody if they're not right in front of us. There's so many different modalities to do it, and really just the energetic connection we all have. Like, we're all one, but like we can intentionally connect with somebody and feel what's going on in their body. And it's really a journey, and it's deep to grasp that, but it's powerful. And we get to learn through our journey, and little by little, like it's not all like simple. Like, we are taking this journey, and it takes time to understand ourselves and our sensitivity. Like you said, our sensitivities have both grown as we've done more work, and it's to support us in helping people, supporting other people. But it is challenging, but our heart is to help people. So I mean this, it can definitely be challenging though.
yeah, for sure. Have my moments myself too.
Yeah, I mean, we're human, and this gift that we have is not one that, every average human is walking around like has the awareness that we do. And they might look at us and think we're a little crazy, because I mean, that's definitely been my experience. I'm like, oh, are you feeling this? And people, like, as I'm learning and growing, asking if people are feeling stuff, and it's just like, are you crazy? Like, probably just yourself. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I wasn't trying to offend you. I'm just trying to like learn. But I mean, like, what are some of the positive things that you like? What, like, you've done work with people. You've supported me
Mhm.
in healing and other people.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely some pluses. And again, that goes with learning with it too, because before, when we started getting into this energy work, you know, my mind wasn't where it's at now. And it was just like me thinking of like, I can do this for you. And it's like, I'm taking it on. And, as time goes, it's like, no, I'm not doing this for you. I'm assisting you. This is your own journey.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I've had a couple of situations where, um, for instance, like my son alone, he does get very anxious, and sometimes I could pick it up, and it just kind of helps, ease the conversation when I know he's uncomfortable, where it's like I start feeling my heartbeat, my palms start getting sweaty, or I start like even my mind starts getting a little foggy, like knowing that he's starting to feel a little anxious, and it just makes it easier for me to go up to him and like rub his back and stuff. But as far as like healings, like I've had a couple that have been really interesting, and it's always fulfilling for me to know that this person just feels better, that I was able to, give them some awareness, help them with some awareness, and I guess kind of walk them through or coach them through some things, as well as, I'm doing the actual healing in itself. And I mean, that to me is like truly amazing. If someone would have told me this a year and a half ago, I'd be like, what are
Woo!
you talking about? Especially the fact that, like you mentioned earlier, that we can do this without the person not being physically in front of us, like connecting with someone states away or in a different country. And it sounds cuckoo to people. Like, how is that possible? But it is. And it's truly a beautiful thing. And to hear people say like, like, I slept good, I feel better, like I actually don't feel foggy, I don't feel as anxious as, it's just like, this is things that you and myself and other people can do. And I feel, we are a little more sensitive, but I truly believe that, if someone wants to learn it, they can. It might not come as easy, because again, like with our sensitivity, but it's just it's just really interesting how everything's been unfolding. Like the people I've worked with from when we first left Master Co and started playing with this stuff,
Yeah.
to like the people that I have worked on like a couple of days ago, and like the intensity of things that happen, like, like I hear things sometimes, we feel things for sure. And it's really interesting how it's, continued to unfold.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely what they call channeled before.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I remember one experience you had where you were like something, you wrote it, right? I can't remember what it was. But I mean, this journey it's neat. I mean, w- everybody has their own gifts, and we are channelers. Like we channel stuff, and that comes from our connection. We're spiritually connected, and most
Mm-hmm.
people, that's definitely something right now that a lot of people are not really aware of what they are. And for me, it's been a big thing. Like Master Co, taking that course really solidified stuff for me. Like understanding that, I mean, like I knew I'm not my mind or my body, but like really, I was like, oh yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not my mind or my emotions or my body. Like I'm the soul, and
Yeah.
we have a pineal gland and something stored in our heart that literally, that is the part of like that. That's who we are.
Right.
And we come into this life with purpose, and it
Mm-hmm.
gets so jumbled up by what, like every interaction we have in life, or being told that we're supposed to be something we're not, and not accepted for who we are. And that comes from a lot of like how we're raised. But we, you know we don't blame our parents because they're
Right.
operating from their own system,
Right.
how they've perceived life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still have those moments
We're human.
where I forget, but it really is the awareness of it, being conscious of these things, and um, just understanding that the way things unravel in that moment too, they're intended to be that way, and for us not to be so hard on ourselves, and are shaped into the people that we are today
Yeah.
with multiple factors, and a lot of that being the way we were raised, with whether it be our parents or the family friends or the whatever environment you were in. And I think us understanding that these things are happening for us, not to us, like being aware of that, I think it also helps shift your mind of like coping it differently, like in a situation where maybe something really did affect you growing up and there is some hurt there and you haven't fully dug deep to understand what it is and how it unfolded. um it's just having that awareness of like, you know um they weren't they were trying their best at that moment and that given time, and the way it unravels is for you to understand it later, that it had a purpose, for
Yeah.
it to give you a lesson, for you to learn from it.
Yeah.
And I think being able to shift our minds from that as well, where it's like not having that negativity of like, why do these things keep happening to me? Like, it's just, it's beautiful when it does, because it's like obviously it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but when it does, it's just kind of like, okay, I fully understand now why it's continued to happen, and I know the rooted cause of that, and you're able to in a way release it and just continue on with your life and kind of wait for the next one to happen.
Yeah. I think another thing that a lot of people don't understand is that, like, we store stuff in our body. Like, we're not our bodies, but as humans, we store stuff in our bodies. And there's so many things that are actually traumatic to us and we take and internalize. And the work through, like, the energy healing stuff that we get to do, like, it supports people in releasing that. And it doesn't all come out at once. And like, I mean, it's a process of supporting us and like letting go of the energy that's not serving us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really interesting because I mean, even you've done some for me, and you're just like, girl, just let it go. And I'm like, I'm trying, but it really is, again, like working from in here versus in here. And I mean, there is some like science behind it that our actual heart is more powerful than our actual brain. You know, it's just the way they're wired, and I think having that knowledge that we do, and wanting to share this to make people, not make people, but help people understand and be more conscious of you acting from your heart versus the ego and the mind and what surrounds us, is kind of what helps us heal as a person as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Nice.
magical.
I'm like, definitely is not easy putting it
No.
out there when everybody is like, I mean, our natural way of being, like, sometimes it's to judge, and this isn't necessarily something that's super accepted everywhere. We know where we're at in our journey. We know a lot of people aren't where we're at. We're willing to risk being judged
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we know in our hearts this has been powerful for us, and
Mm-hmm.
we get to share it because it's transformed our lives.
Yeah. And I mean, it is definitely more accepted now than if we were into this, if we would have understood this 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the journey of it, even in my own household or my family, like understanding it, I mean, for a minute, like they literally thought I was going crazy. They're just like,
yeah.
what are you talking about? Like, how does that make any sense? And it's just like, you know, with the knowledge that we have and the awareness and conscious, it's just like we just have to remember it's like we're functioning at a different level. And multiple times, like, it was difficult for me to even remember that, because I'd allow, again, like the sensitivity, I'd allow people to influence me, and then I'd have my own moments where I'm questioning. I'm like, wait, am I really going crazy? No, like this is it. I'd have, like, you know, a couple of like pep talks to myself, like, no, this is what makes me feel like it's just, I don't know, my way of being. And it wasn't easy to like unravel it in my household. It's just, it's funny now, but it was just very tough.
Yeah.
And got to share with you.
Yeah. It's definitely not been easy in mine either with my family. I mean, luckily, like, I think my dad was like, he made sense of it. He's like, well, we're basically like walking holograms. Like, we're made up like of particles of energy. So it made sense to him. But it's still like, it goes beyond that into where it's like, okay, like, I haven't gotten there. It could be weird. I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of just like the awareness just expands. And I'm like, I mean, like, at least, you know, like, I mean, our heart is for good, and we want to support people in healing. But, you know, it's hard to navigate at times, for sure, in this world that we're living in. But we know it's powerful. There was something that I wanted to share. Like, I would love for you to share a little bit about, like, I mean, more on guidance. We definitely have been guided on our journey, but like, is there anything that you feel like you've been guided to or through?
For sure.
Like anything? Yeah.
So, I mean, like, to start off, the whole way that this unraveled, like, in front of me, like, that alone was just like multiple signs, like shoving me, pushing me, and being put in front of me for me to be aware. And I was just like walking like a horse, like not aware. And I mean, the story that I had before I really opened up my eyes to this was, you know, I was a little depressed, and my story was that I would wake up every morning to do the same thing. And I started really questioning, like, what is my true purpose? You know, like, I love my kids, I love my family, but I know there's a deeper reason for me to be here in this lifetime to do something. And I didn't know what it was. And like, it just, once I had that question in my head, like, it was like ongoing, like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? Like, I know there's something bigger, like something bigger than me that I'm here, you know, to do. And it's so funny because I just remember, and I've said this to a few of my friends, like, I just remember hearing the word podcast. And I'm just like, okay, I know it has something to do with, like, it's like the radio on your phone. Like, I was not aware, but I kept hearing the word podcast. So finally one day, I'm just like, you know, I'm going to go on my phone and check out this podcast. And I downloaded something, and, you know, I downloaded a few, or put a few in my library of people that I knew, like, I don't know, Ellen DeGeneres, because I was like, oh, she's funny, you know, I'll hear some of that. And then I picked up by Tony Robbins. And then there was this one that really caught my attention. It was Jess Lively. And I was just like, I don't know, I'm just going to try this one. Like, I didn't read anything. Her picture wasn't that like I wasn't like super drawn to her picture, but something about it, I was like, I'm just going to listen to this one. That was my first podcast. And that was the only podcast I listened to for probably about a month. And after I picked her first episode, which it was her just reintroducing herself in her seasons. I was like, okay, this is a perfect thing. Like, I kind of get to understand what the heck she's even going to talk about, who this person is. And I was hooked from that moment. And she spoke of things from crystals law of attraction, quantum physics, which kind of gives you more of the science behind the law of attraction. She was talking about intuition. She starts talking about the hypnosis, and like I was just very drawn, and I do truly believe that things are intentional always. Like there's always a meaning to them. And I went from being very, I wouldn't say I was in a very dark place, but I really was just kind of very mopey. Like there was this cloud over my head all the time where it's like I'm living literally to do the same exact thing every day, every day. And I wasn't happy. And as the days went on, I would listen to it daily. I'd put it on as I did my normal routine. And by week 1, I was already feeling so happy. Like it was like this was something that was being put in front of me to unravel everything that has happened. And this is about a year and a half ago. And that's just one thing. And that was the beginning of it. And after that, I really, was more open and understanding. And that's kind of where this whole intuition and channeling thing started kind of coming into play of like, okay, we have a soul. Like I've always thought that. And I was just like, what are you trying to tell me? And it's just really magical.
Yeah. I still remember you like, well, I mean, you connected me to that podcast and I'm like listening to it. I'm like, I like this. And then like all the QHHT session, whatever she was doing, I was like, I don't know about this. Like, I didn't get it then. And you're like all into it. Like, cool. Like, I want to know more. And I'm like, oh, but I don't know. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to that episode. I don't get it.
Yeah. And again, that's just like how beautiful things have been with our friendship. You're just like, okay, whatever. And then you found another podcast that after she stopped producing her podcast for like some time, you're like, you should try this one. And then I was hooked to that one. And I was just like,
which one was, I can't remember
what was Mind Love.
Mind Love, yeah. And then we got you sent me an Ayurveda test from Sahara Rose. And then I'm like, you gotta listen to Sahara Rose's podcast. So all these great podcasts that we've found that have really supported us on our journey. And so like anybody out there who's listening to this, like take note because they have really supported us and we want to support you on your journey. That is why we are making this right now. We are creating this together because we care. And this journey has been so supportive of us. But any other things that you could recall? Like you've had a lot of guidance. Like you have connection to even animals, right? like I'm like
people that are gonna tune in are just gonna be like, what are we listening to at this moment? I mean,
we get to share, we get to be vulnerable, we get to put it out there because
I love it though.
Yes, like I love you and accept you for all that you are, and I know it's real, and like everybody in this community will, like they know. And the one thing that I will say 100%, the people that I've gotten to connect with and interview on transformation through energy healing and spirituality, like it's a little long to say, but like it's different to connect with people in this world that are on this journey. People have been more kind, more loving, more accepting, and more understanding than I've ever experienced in my life. And to that, I'm extremely thankful because I get to experience that. And for most of my life, I felt not accepted. I felt judged and I didn't get myself. So like, we get to allow people the space to be them. And sometimes it's hard for us to share.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard.
It's just the way that we were conditioned. Again, like your environment, your surroundings, as you get molded, as a little person, I think they say like, up until you're like 7 or 8 years old, those are like the things that really do start to really sink in and mold you as a person. And I mean, bless my parents. I mean, I love them to death. And there's just some things that I've unraveled in the last year in this journey for myself of things that I was taught that they were taught, and it's just like they're doing their best. And it's not me being angry at them. It's like they were trying their best. Again, you know, you do what you can in that moment, and just having compassion for them and the way that they were trying to deal with the situation at the time. And again, that's where this, you know, healing for yourself that you do, where you start to really understand some of these, you know, emotions and these things that were placed on you. And it is sometimes very difficult to be able to express yourself without feeling judged, you know, feeling vulnerable. And again, it plays into how maybe a scenario where you might have been trying to do it and then you got shut back. And it's just like that from that moment on, ego is like, we don't do that, you know, because it's not safe.
Yeah.
Whereas when we function from our heart, it's just like all we want to do is connect and understand and love. And it's just truly interesting how when you are functioning from that, it really does change perspective of like, okay, you know, I understand I was hurt, and if I am able to express it to this person that might not be able to share it as openly as I am, it might make a shift in them to feel accepted, that the next time they might be willing to share. And it's just like really that connection becomes really, you know, deep, where it's like you accept me and you see me, I see you for who you are too, and I love you regardless. And yeah.
One thing that I love to tell people a lot of times when I connect with people, I'm like, I love you, and I accept you for all that you are, where you're at. Even, I mean, because I do. And I understand that people have gone through a lot of stuff. And I mean, they're operating from how they've perceived this world. And sometimes it's a lot of pain.
It
And,
is.
but it opens up so much space for people to be them when you just authentically tell them that, like let them know that when you open up and share and be vulnerable. It's hard, but I swear, like people will relate. Like they totally do. And that's how we have connected. Like we have allowed space for that and been there through it. Like
For sure. And it's funny that you're saying that too, because you just told me, you know, that I, like in my mind, you know, I feel it and I do it, but just stating that to somebody, I think it's just so powerful, because I've done that to myself, you know, like where it's like after meditation or after I felt the presence of my guides or something very deep and profound in me, like I place my hands in my heart, and it's just like, I love myself right here right now for feeling this and for understanding it. And it's just like, it is powerful even just to tell myself that. So to be able to tell someone that too, like if someone told me that, I would just feel very safe, like you don't even know me on a deep level. Like, of course, like I feel safe if you're telling me that. But yeah, it's truly, truly a journey that will continue, because I have my moments too where I think I've understood something and here comes another lesson to be learned. And it's just like, I have my moments where I'm just like, no, like I'm having too many lessons at once. I need a break. But it always is rewarding to really see where I'm at in that moment and where I was a month ago, a week ago, a year ago, where it's just like, compassion for myself. Like, this is really helping me understand myself and wanting to connect with others and to be there for people, allow people to be vulnerable without them feeling like they can't be themselves and they're being judged. Because nowadays that is how our society is functioning. And it truly does, on our sensitivity side, like it makes me sad. Like I feel like a pain where it's just like, I don't want anyone to feel that,
Yeah, I do know. I feel the same way. That's why we are so connected, because we just are we feel the same. We view a lot of things the same. Um, I'm like, is there anything that you can share that, like, for you that's been helpful as far as self love goes? I know, like, I've shared, like, literally, I mean, looking at myself and dancing and singing and allowing myself to connect with myself has been really helpful for me. And I know some people might think it's weird, but I'm like, it literally, like, has supported me and like loving myself, just spending that time with myself, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
It is very important.
Have you, like, what are some of the things that you do to share, like, that, give you that time and space for yourself?
So, I mean, there's a couple of things for sure. Dancing and music is like just really fun to do, and I think it's really being able to tap into like a very playful place,
The child
like a
self.
child,
Yeah.
like really just doing it. Like like music has to be playing in the house all the time, whether it's something like more fun with movement or something more relaxing. There's always some type of sound going on in the house. And I like to light candles and incense. um, I like to go outside and put my feet on the ground. And I know I have my moments too where I'm feeling like kind of icky. And it's just like, oh, I haven't gone outside for a couple of days. But being outside and putting my feet on the ground and really feeling the fresh air, the sun, and connecting to nature.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Bath time for me. I have my little rituals that I do, like full moons and whatnot, but I enjoy just being able to light some candles, put some crystals around me, throw some flowers in there, some salts, and just like really enjoying that moment and maybe listening to a podcast or a meditation in the bath. Like these things like are things that are very simple that I enjoy doing, whether I'm in a high vibration, I do it, especially if I'm not feeling like 100% like myself. Then a tapping, an EFT tapping for me, like will start kind of making me feel a little better, and then I'll start doing one of those things like light some candles and music or start dancing, getting my move on. But yeah, I mean, the list can go on and on. I mean, we could get very woo woo with
I know. Well,
the fun
we
stuff.
could make another we can do another episode of this, because I mean, there's just we could support so many people by sharing more
Mhm.
about our journey. And I mean, even you just sharing those things that you do for yourself, everybody out there, she's a mom, and a lot of people don't like take time for themselves, and just giving yourself some moments to like presence yourself and have some time where you can just like clear your mind. It's like it's
Mhm.
important that you get to share those things, because there's a lot of people out there that have kids or just so much going on that they don't do that. So those little things could be really supportive of people.
For sure. And I mean, like my bath, I could be in a bath for 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour, but something as simple as like really turning on some fun music and like just dancing around the kitchen. I mean, that could be like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, okay, I feel good. Like this is like starting to feel really good. I'm like at a higher vibration. And I mean, that's 5 minutes. Like EFT tapping, five
Yeah,
minutes. Like some of these things are very simple, but it's just kind of what you're drawn to, too, you know?
yeah. That's one thing. I mean, it's important that not everything is going to be right for everybody. We're sharing our journeys and what's been helpful for us. And I had connected with somebody earlier who said the same thing, and it's like, it's right. You don't want to push anything. We don't want to push anything on anybody. We just want to share what's really supported us in our journey. And there's so many different things out there for us to understand ourselves better. Like literally, we've dug into numerology, astrology, like the list goes on, and there's so many different healing stuff
Oh,
things and
Lord.
techniques, and like I've connected with so many individuals that like have created their own from all the different modalities that they've
Mhm.
learned. So this is just some of the stuff that's been helpful for us, and this is
For
just been
sure.
a journey for us, but we all get to have our own journey.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
we all seek the same thing inside, but our paths look different. So
yeah,
what might
I
work for you and me might not be the same thing for someone else.
yeah.
I'd love to hear theirs too.
Huh?
I'd be willing to try. I said whatever works for them, I'd be willing to try for myself too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the key that I think both of us have had. Like, we are open, and we are ready to grow. We want better, and we're actually like, we're willing to look inward and say, like, there may be some stuff, and like, it sometimes it's painful to look at that stuff.
Yeah. It's not always fun.
No, it's yeah, like, owning up to your stuff, and really, it's not always easy. So it's definitely a process. I think we get to definitely make some future stuff together, create some stuff to support some people on their journey, because we could go on and on sharing to support.
For sure.
But I do want to, like, share everybody out there, unless there's anything else that you would love to touch on right now. I think, like, we could make another.
Try to do it in episodes.
We're gonna do episodes. This is gonna be a series, guys. We gotta I mean, there's just so much we could share. So we could go on and on and on. But is there anything that you feel called to share right now?
Not at the moment. I think we've touched a lot of the same things. I mean, I had my little list and I knew it was just gonna flow, through our conversations and our journey that had come up. But it's just, I think maybe just remembering to have compassion for yourself as well. Going through these things to dig deep within yourself can be a little tricky and difficult and painful sometimes, but it really is just like having the compassion for yourself to know that you're invested in yourself and that you are already, steps ahead, because you are trying, to understand and love yourself and really get to know yourself. And I think that's one of the bigger things to me, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's definitely a journey of learning little by little, like, to love yourself more, because we're taught, like, we need to change. So having that compassion is huge, and just, like, really being willing to even show yourself that compassion and love. But
I'm excited. No, this was really fun, and I'm happy for the people that this is intended to be, that it shows up for them to listen, because I think that's the truly magical part of it, when things are just like intended for you to see and listen, and that makes it super fun. But it's always fun, having a conversation with you, and I'm just excited, and I look forward to making some more.
Yes, me too. And I mean, if you're watching this and you want support on your journey, reach out to Sylvia, because she is amazing, and she is a healer, or that's just a label, but she's very capable of supporting you on your journey.
Yeah, and likewise, love, you are very, very truly magical and amazing, and I love you for creating this for ourselves and anyone that's ready.
Yeah, well, we created it, so thank you for being here and being a part of my journey, because and I love you from the bottom of my heart, and it's just, like, amazing every time we get to connect with each other. I'm like, should we have a dance party now?
I didn't pick a song though.
Okay, we can just dance party.
A little exit with the dance party. Oh. Oh.
Can you hear it over there?
I can hear it. Chris Stapleton.
The ballroom? What is the ballroom?
Bear with us. I don't know the full lyrics. I mix my own words. Love I know.
Just
need for reach
for
for
the
the
bottom of the
bottom.
bottle. I don't know.
Me back,
From
being too far gone. Or a smooth Tennessee whiskey. You're a sweet strawberry wine. Oh, I love you.
I love you too. I'm like, probably people probably don't want to hear our singing all night long.
And hear our amazing angelic voices. No, I love this song and I love it because we shared it together. And yeah, I love you.
Thanks for rocking out that song with me and like sharing your voice with everybody who gets to connect with us here.
Right.
And anybody who sat through us singing that, thank you. And this is just something that I'm releasing before I'm releasing a summit. I'm interviewing quite a few different people, on a variety of topics, from conscious parenting to all different types of healing modalities and plenty of things that could support you on your journey. And I will be posting the link wherever I post this. I will supply a link and follow that link, and you get to put your email in and opt in, and you will receive that through email. So opt in and join us, because there's going to be some impactful moments on that. Like, there's just some amazing people that I've connected with who have overcame a lot, and they get to share. So I want to thank you again so much, Sylvia, for creating this with me. You know I love you.
Mm-hmm. I love you too, and thank you for sharing it with me as well, making me a part of it.
And bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.